And to shed more light on the Egyptian-Tunisian relations, we are joined over the phone by expert of international and economic affairs, Dr. Ahmed Mostafa. Good evening, doctor.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening, sir. How do you view the significance of the strong historical relations that bind Egypt and Tunisia?
Look, it's a long time before, since, the Islamic Empire. We still have, a coalition between Tunisia and Egypt. It was a coalition between Taiwan University and Al-Azhar University. The streams that came via the Fatimi, era also, and there is like Amazigh line that already extended from Morocco, but by Algeria, Tunisia, and Libya, and until Siwa and the West Desert and Matruf. Therefore, this is a kind of not just a religious, but also a cultural and civilizational one. And if you see, and Tunisia, because I have a lot of Tunisian experts, friends, and politicians and businessmen, the situation in Tunisia very, very similar to the situation in Egypt. And if you make like a comparison, you'll find like Tunisia is like a small model of Egypt as well. The small vulnerabilities, as you said, we have a problem in Libya from, we have a two governments, and also Tunisia and Egypt are surrounding all the neighbor countries of Libya. The problems in Sudan, the problem, of course, that took place in Syria with whatsoever, I don't know, the group that's coming, HTS, Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, and, the fanaticism and things like that. And we suffered as Egypt and as well as Libya from, the matter of the returning jihadists that came back from, Syria during the past era, and how the two countries already try to dispose of, the fanaticism and extremism and terrorism. A lot of similarities between the two countries in this regard.
Well, also, Dr. Egypt and Tunisia are keen to reach an immediate and comprehensive ceasefire in the Gaza Strip. What is your take on this?
Yes, as you know, that Egypt and Tunisia, especially countries from North Africa, they had like a very progressive stances in such matter, because Tunisia, as you know, always considered as a country of reluctance as well as Egypt. And both of them already Egypt trying and insist of the ceasefire, because once there is a ceasefire, I think a lot of problems, whether regional or domestic problems, whether in Egypt and Tunisia, will be solved. Because the matter, as long as we have a prolongation of, the conflict in Gaza from this Israeli aggression, as well as the NATO that's supporting Israel, no stability and a lot of issues will take place. Therefore, from both sides, whether the Egyptian and Tunisian stopping such escalation and cease the fire, will allow for flourishing again the economics, because also we have the matter of the supply chain and how much it affects negatively, because as we know, the Red Sea and the problems that are taking place in the Red Sea, and both of the countries are vulnerable to what's going on. Also, the two countries, they have the same stances, just to the access of the humanitarian aid and the Medicare to the aggrieved people, or the innocent people in Gaza, like children and women and the elder. These kind of issues are very common, and also they have a stance also against the aggression and against Israel and things like that. Therefore, there is a kind of conformity of the synergy in this situation, especially regional, political, strategic, and economic stance towards the crisis in Gaza, as well as in Lebanon, as well as in Syria as well.
Well, Doctor, the two sides agreed on fostering joint cooperation in the fields of clean and renewable energy. What is the significance of this?
You know that Egypt already achieved a kind of shift in this kind of the solar energy and wind energy and things like that. Also, as I told you, Tunisia is also a country that already having, too much sun rising and can use such, natural resource in this regard. Also, in the matter of recycling the other waste and things like that, I think Egypt can, via synergy in this technology of the clean energy and green energy, can already generate and can make a difference in Tunisia, because also Tunisia, they don't have the proper oil and gas. Also, the matter of Libya, because Libya now cannot export oil and gas and can affect negatively on the two countries, because it was the nearest country that you can get a supply from them. Therefore, you should find, alternatives for this. Also, the matter of, the green hydrogen and the blue hydrogen and the other issues that already tackled in Egypt, and now Egypt already achieved like a greater, significance in it, can also export it to Tunisia in this regard, because as I told you, Egypt and Tunisia are very similar in a lot of things, even in the matter of, the renewable energy and the green energy as well. And also, we can get a lot of, experiences from the other, COP conferences that took places, whether in Egypt or in Saudi Arabia or in Emirates or in Azerbaijan, and implement the proper solutions in our countries once it is, proper to be applicable here, whether in Egypt or in Tunisia.
Well, Doctor, also, how do you see Egypt's role in supporting Africa's development and preserving peace and security in the Black Continent?
As I told you, both of the countries, they have a higher level of education, higher level of awareness, higher level of culture. They are in good relations with the other African countries. We are not hostile countries. We are kind people, whether Egypt and Tunisia. Therefore, in terms of, the soft power, education, knowledge, as well as the matter of energy, as you said, the renewable energy, because we can export, expertise to the African countries in terms of the green and renewable energy as well, sustainability. Also, Egypt and Tunisia also exporting, vegetables and fruits, as well as Tunisia. Tunisia also is very famous in terms of exporting the olive oil and fruits as well. Therefore, all such, issues can add value once we start having a kind of synergy via maybe the African Union or via, the synergy between the two countries. We can export and can have like a joint venture companies in this regard. Also, Egypt and Tunisia, they have a higher technology and a higher banking system. Also, they can add value and they can export their experience to the African countries that are not, having such kind of developed systems. Therefore, they can add value to a lot of things in the African countries. And as I said before and several times, Africa is very promising, and I think it is the coming continent, because even in digitization, in artificial intelligence, in, having like tools for businesses, things like that, we have projects, for example, like Decent Life. Decent Life is a kind of what's so-called investment in social investment, and this experience could be exported, because once you invest in knowledge, as well as health, as well as renewable energy and governance, you will achieve a lot of things on the medium and the long term, and that will have like a good revenues in the future concerning the GDPs of the country. And because the two countries, they are in the continent, of course they are vulnerable, and they know a lot about the continent, and especially Egypt, because Egypt also has a greater experience since time of leader Abdel Nasser in Africa, and the Nasser Company and Al-Muqawlun Arab contractors. Therefore, all of such experiences can Egypt stimulate a lot of things in African countries. And recently there was like a conference for the startups in Algeria throughout Africa. All such things and all such issues can be implemented in Africa, and can already having a greater revenue on both countries for the development that they have, as well as they are vulnerable to global experiences and things like that, not like the other African countries. But some, of course, South or sub-Saharan countries already achieved some, progress and developmental good rates in this regard. But Egypt and Tunisia, they have, I think, in my viewpoint, they have a greater issues, and they have a lot of opportunities that can present to Africa in this regard.
Well, Dr. Ahmed Mostafa, expert of international relations and economic affairs, thank you so much for your insights. And Israeli attacks in the occupied West Bank killed at least 8 Palestinians.